Welcome to Pick Up and Deliver, the podcast where I pick up my audio recorder as I step off the train and deliver an episode to you while I walk home. I'm Brendan Riley. Well, good evening, listeners. It is a lovely day here in suburban Chicago, and I am having a lovely walk home in the evening. It is cool. It's October, which is one of my favorite months. One of the best months, if you ask me, but it's no longer September, which means that it's time for Top of the Stack. Each time I think I should have a new song, but I never remember the song I sang last month, so it's just a random set of songs. For those of you who are new to the podcast, Top of the Stack is a monthly segment that I do on or near the beginning of the month. It wasn't quite the first episode to be published this month, but pretty close, in which I reflect on the last month's gameplays. I talk about my goals, I talk about my experiences, we laugh, we cry, we have a great time. In particular, I report on how I did on this month's Top of the Stack, which is a sort of metaphorical 3 games that I have taken out of my collection and set on top of the stack of games to be played so that they will be played first, and then I set a new top of the stack by the time the episode is over. So that is what we are doing right now. So in September of 2022, I played 60 games, 60 plays of 46 different games, which is a nice, healthy number, if you ask me. That brings my year play to 655 plays of 259 different games. Plenty of games have been played. My shelf of opportunity, those are the games that I own but haven't had a chance to play yet, has gone from 58 games down to 57 games. So down 1. Anytime the number goes down, that's good. By contrast, my game collection has gone from 532 up to 538. So it's gone up, but it's not as high as it was before. I think most of those adjustments are still because I rearranged my game shelf, although I did get a few new games this month and haven't gotten rid of any more. My most played game in real life was Arch Ravels, not surprisingly with the playtesting I've been doing. And my most played asynchronous game is Through the Ages. This month, on the top of the stack, what I do is I pick 3 games, or I pick 4 games, and 3 is considered a success. So if I get 3 of the 4 played, that's a success. My first game that I put on the list is Screaming Eagles. This is a 1980s classic board game that comes in the long, narrow, or the long, thin box. It's got jets on the front. I found it at Goodwill. I did not get that played. However, I wanted to revisit the game Fuse, which I played once a long time ago, but then I recently purchased at Goodwill, so I wanted to play it, because once I buy it, it's on my shelf of opportunity. I have the game Streets, which I got a couple months ago, and I've been trying to get played. And then we have the game Deck Chairs on the Titanic, which was my lead choice game last month, but I did not get to it. And Fuse, Streets, and Deck Chairs on the Titanic, they all got played, baby. That's right. So 3 of the 4, a successful month, which has been rare this year. I haven't been on the top of my game in terms of my top of the stack. So I'm on the top of the stack game stack. It was quite a month for first plays. At the beginning of the month, I had 98 new to me games tried this year. As of right now, I'm at 104. So I got to try, 6 games. I guess just 6 games? That doesn't seem right. No, I'm sorry. It's 106 new games played because I have played a bunch of new games. So here they are. Some of these I already talked about in Shooting from the Hip episodes. In fact, all of them, with the exception of the last one, I think, I have talked about in Shooting from the Hip episodes. So you can listen back to those from the month. To start off, we had A Study in Emerald 2nd Edition. We had Flamecraft. We had Quirky Circuits. We had Space Station Phoenix. Now that one I did not talk about yet because I played it on Board Game Arena, so I don't feel like I have a good grasp on it yet. I don't think I should review it yet, but I still count it as having played. I played Streets, I played Blocus, I played Deck Chairs on the Titanic, and I played Villagers. That leads to 108 new games so far this year. As far as I remember, there were no expansions that I tried for the first time this month, so you can just get that right out of your head. On the other hand, I had a robust 9 games out of the dust played this month. Before this month, I had 23 games out of the dust played. At the end of the month, I had 32. That's 9 games. Remember, an out of the dust game is a game where I have played it previously, but it's been more than a year since I played it, and now I played it again. And here they are. Lost Cities. This is a game my wife and I really enjoy playing. I often take it with us on vacation. In fact, that's usually where it gets played. And sure enough, it had been 1 year and 2 months since my wife and I went away on a trip. We went on a trip for a couple days, played some Lost Cities. The same was true of School of Sorcery, although my wife still did not like that. I remember last time we played it, she didn't really like it, but I thought I'd get it out again and we'd try it one more time. Didn't like it again. It's probably going to go on the sell pile. Next up, we have Fuse. I mentioned this one. I played it in 2017 at Origins with Cassidy, the original third founding member of Board Game Blitz, and haven't played it since. But then I got my copy from Goodwill, and I've played it twice now, both times. Pretty fun. Cleopatra and the Society of Architects. The last time I played this was when I was removing it from my shelf of opportunity. I enjoy the game. It's an interesting mix. Remember, you're trying not to have the most corruption, trying to build those cool temples. It was 1 year, 7 months, and 25 days between plays of that. Anachrony, I got to the table. It'd been 1 year and 5 months since I played that. That's one of those games I just don't play it that often because it's so big, but I really like it. Next up, Exploding Kittens. It had been 1 year, 2 months, and 3 days since I played that one. Not surprising. That's not a game I tend to play a lot, but I played it at my board game club. Nuns on the Run. Ooh, this was a fun one. I don't know what made me grab it, but we decided it would be an amusing thing to explore, and sure enough, we had a fun time with it. It is a little finicky, but what a hilarious theme. We had a good time with it. It was 5 years, 1 month, and 5 days in between plays. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes a couple more years before we bust it out again, but I did have a good time, and I'm not interested in getting rid of it. That's Nuns on the Run. Then we have Quacks of Quedlinburg and Cryptid, both games that had sat at least a year on the shelf. 1 year, 1 month for Quacks, 3 years, 11 days for Cryptid. So a healthy month of returning to games that had been on the shelf a while, and I enjoyed myself with them. The 52 game challenge I've been telling you about, this is the list with all the weird challenges, and I'm down to 4 left, and I'm afraid I did not make an effort or result in getting any of those 4 played. So next, on to the next month. I'm sure, in the next 2 months, actually 3, October, November, December, I just have to get 4 prompts played. But I'm going to have to be active about it. One of them, I have to play a game in Chicago that takes place in Chicago. One of them is I have to play a game that's about dark academia, which it seems like Argent the Consortium ought to be the one that I do that with. And then I don't remember what the other 2 are. But they're just going to take a little extra effort to play. I just need to make sure to do it. I've mentioned my shelf of opportunity log is down to 57 unplayed games. This month I did get a number of new games. I got Marvel on Marvel United, the base game. I found it on discount at Ruby Tuesday, or Tuesday morning it's called. It was about the same price. It was a little cheaper than you would pay on Amazon, but only by a couple bucks. So it wasn't a super good deal, but I think my son will enjoy it. And I hear it's fun, so yeah, why not? We got Flamecraft in, the Kickstarter edition. That game, I've already talked about it. We got I got Blocus and I got Villagers. And then finally, I did manage right before the end of the month to pick up a copy of the much-awaited, the long-awaited, the very exciting Messina 1347, the Vladimir Suchy game. And in reading the rules for that, I realized that I now have, between Messina 1347 and Villagers and Rattus and Bring Out Your Dead, I have a whole suite of games that take place during the bubonic plague. And I think it would be fun to have a plague day where we play all of those games. We would actually go Messina 1347, then Rattus, then Bring Out Your Dead, then Villagers, because Villagers is about rebuilding your village after the plague has swept through and is gone. And I think that would be an amusing, if grotesque, remembrance of history. So either way, Messina 1347, I'm very excited to play it. Lots of Vladimir Suchy goodness, lots of choosing which bonuses to get and when to trigger the bonuses and how to move your guys around and choosing. Yeah, it's a lot of the same kinds of stuff that we saw in Praga, Caput Regni, but totally different way of displaying those items and exploring them. I did have 3 new expansions show up. 2 of them are just when I bought Villagers. I also bought the Shifting Seasons expansion and the Kickstarter expansion content because the game store that I bought Villagers from back to the Kickstarter, so they had the Kickstarter editions of the game, and so I got the Kickstarter expansion content. And then the Hellboy Big Box of Doom showed up, which I'm very excited to check out. So overall, it was a pretty enjoyable month. I really liked getting to play the different games that I have tackled. I've been really enjoying the ongoing strategy games that I'm just sort of getting really good at, like Concordia, Trajan, and Agricola, which I play sort of incessantly on repeating loop on Boîte à Jeux. I've been really enjoying playing Innovation a lot. That's a game that I think I'm getting a really strong feel for. I might like to get another cycle of Mottainai going. That game is really fun in bursts and would be a game I'd like to play on the table more. I also feel like I'm getting very good at Res Arcana, which is another game I've been playing a lot on Board Game Arena. I have a sort of ongoing game of that as well, where I'll finish the game and I just challenge my friend to another round of the game. That is one that I would like to play on the table more. I do have both expansions, and I haven't gotten to try the second one. There's one that has to do with water. It comes with pearls, and it has to do with water creatures. And I haven't gotten to try that one, and it's not on Board Game Arena yet. So if I want to try it, I'm going to have to break it out. Well, with October coming, I'm thinking it's going to be a fun spooky month. So it would be fun to break out some spooky games. I don't think I have any spooky games on my shelf of opportunity to choose for my next month. But it would be fun to play some of those. I'm a little inclined to leave the Screaming Eagles game on there because I like that one, or I think that one looks neat and I would like to get it played. But ultimately, I don't know if I will have an opportunity to, and it feels foolish to put it on there a second month in a row if I'm not really going to make it happen. But maybe putting it on there will be forcing it. So I'm calling it now. The retry is going to be Screaming Eagles. The other games that I'm going to put on my shelf of opportunity, definitely Messina 1349. That game is going to get played this month for sure. And then I need two more. Something small would be a good choice because it's good to get small games played. I did actually just get in the 2-player Jamie Stegmaier game. I can't remember what it's called, but if you look in the show notes, I will mark it as one of my games for next month. It's the game that Jamie Stegmaier designed as a 2-player game because of the 10th anniversary of Stonemaier Games, which just came out. So yeah, I'm going to call that as the third game that I'm going to put on my list. We've got Screaming Eagles, we've got Messina 1347, we've got Jamie Stegmaier's new 2-player game. I would really like to play My Father's Work, but I'm not sure that I can get it played. My Father's Work is a beast of a game. It takes 4 hours to play. I just don't know if we're going to have the time for it. And I already said I want to play Messina, so that's already a big time eater. I think I'm going to say Where Art Thou, Romeo? This is an old game from Crash Games, and I think it was picked up and published by, I don't know, maybe it was just published by Crash Games. It is set in the world of the Council of Verona, and I think that would be a game I should be able to get played. So yeah, I'm going to say Where Art Thou, Romeo is my fourth game. But yeah, so I've talked in the past on previous episodes about spooky games, and I'm looking forward in October here to be playing some spooky games. I'm going to play Touch of Evil. I'm going to play Betrayal at House on the Hill, probably The Bloody Inn. I'll have to see what other games I have that you might call spooky. I don't have a ton of them, but the ones I do have, I'd love to play. All right, last question for you to consider before I sign off on this episode of Pick Up and Deliver. I recently, right on the 1st, it showed up, so I counted as an October purchase. I picked up the game Lords of Waterdeep. Now, I had some Amazon points, and Lords of Waterdeep is ridiculously cheap right now, $30. And this is a game that I know to be really good. I like this game a lot. Every time I play it, I have a good time. And everything I know about how the game works suggests to me that other family members would enjoy it as well. I know listener Chris Hickman, he and his wife have a thorough enjoyment of Lords of Waterdeep, and I'm hoping that the same will be true in my family. So, because it was $30 and I had the Amazon points anyway, boom, got it. Now here's the question for you, dear listener. When you buy a game that is a game you're very familiar with, a game you've played many times, but it was not previously in your collection, when you buy it, does it go onto your shelf of opportunity until you play it again? Because usually my shelf of opportunity is games I bought that I've never played. I've played Lords of Waterdeep, but should I put it on my shelf of opportunity anyway until I play it? Second question, and this actually goes to the whole shelf of opportunity. I think I usually say It doesn't have to be my copy, but here's the question. If you have a game on your shelf of opportunity and you have the chance to play it, say at a convention or a game night, and it's someone else's copy that comes out, if you play that game, it's someone else's copy. Do you get to take it off of your shelf of opportunity, or do you only take it off of your shelf of opportunity once you've played your copy? So I'd love to hear your answers to those two questions, but also the answer to the question of what have you been playing this month? How did you do on your top of the stack? Head over to Board Game Geek Guild 3269 and share your thoughts on that. Tell us how you did on your top of the stack. What have you been playing? How much have you been enjoying it? What are you going to play next month? If you want to reach out to me, you can send me an email, brendan@rattleboxgames.com. You can send me a direct message on Board Game Geek. Wombat929 is my username. We could play asynchronous board games on Board Game Arena, Watasu, or yukata.de. My username is Wombat929 on all three of those. I'd be happy to play games with you. That brings us to the end of this Top of the Stack episode. I want to say thanks for joining me this week, and I hope that your next walk is as pleasant as mine was. Bye-bye.
Brought to you by Rattlebox Games.